Okay, honored to have Ambassador Carla Sands. Now, you were on BBC last night from here. You've been at the conference last night and also today. Why are you here with this group of reprobates at Harvard, these revolutionaries, rebels?
Well, because we're creating a revolution here at Harvard and across the country, and it's going to change our nation. This is about America first, and the money's going to change. The money, the corruption, the tens of billions of dollars that are going to places like Penn and Harvard from the federal government. This is all going to change.
So you agree with Professor Amy Wax? You think you got to use Title VI, start cleaning up these Ivy League institutions? These other universities are taking massive amounts of money. I think she said Penn gets $900 million a year. But
yes.
Do you think that has to happen?
Yes, and I think Doge is going to get their AI in there, and they're going to find it all. They're going to find the webs, and then we're going to turn off the money, and then we're going to turn on money that benefits the American people and real research, and not just layers and layers of bureaucrats with cushy jobs and gold-plated health care.
So you're ambassador to Denmark, Greenland. We're going to get to that in a second. Also, I want to ask you about the Arctic and Canada. But USAID, you're very familiar with it. Is what we're doing the right thing of shutting this down, totally just shutting the whole thing down?
It's so exciting, Steve. It's so exciting that we are shutting down USAID, because what it was a giant piggy bank to pay people who are rich, like the Clintons and like a lot of these NGOs, and they were pushing out ideologies to our trading partners and our aid partners that they don't want. For instance, the trans stuff, sort of trying to push stuff to largely Christian or Muslim countries or Catholic countries that they don't want to see. And so this is going to be a win for the taxpayers, but also countries did not want to trade with us because China didn't come with all these ideologies. They really despise what we were doing. So I'm excited.
Talk about days of thunder. Every day there's another 10 or 12, either executive actions, executive orders, legislation, or just President Trump doing something like stripping Biden of his security clearance. What's your takeaway of the days of thunder in the first couple of weeks?
Every day's Christmas. I'm having so much fun. I can't wait every day. And it doesn't stop like at 5 o'clock. No, it continues. And on the weekend, it continues. And so it's the most exciting political time in my lifetime, but it's also really exciting for the American people and our country. We're safer every day, and we're saving our money. It's our money. Let's put it back in our pockets, or just not spend it in the first place.
So your recommendation of the president is keep on. We call it maneuver warfare. Just pedal, all gas, no brake.
All gas, no brakes.
And what about, you've seen now the resistance of the media, the left, they're trying to go to the courts. What do you say when the courts put these TROs up? What do you do then?
Well, I think that there has to be a change. A friend of mine wrote an op-ed recently, I think it was in the Daily Caller, about how these federal judges should not be able to stop a sitting U.S. president from implementing his administration's policies. And so I think there have to be changes so that we can't have one judge somewhere.
It's Article 3 versus an Article 2 issue?
So I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney, right. but I'll say this.
You don't play one on TV.
No,
right.
I don't. But we have to have the president be able to implement his agenda. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college vote. The people are behind him. So I think, number one, the judges have to be reined in. But I think also now we have conservative lawyers who are killers who are going to go toe-to-toe with the left as they try to shut us down on all of these great policies. And they're on their back foot. Because every day's Christmas, they can't get in front of him to stop him because he has so many.
You're saying there's so many different things coming, right? They're just overwhelming the system.
It's like putting a toy in front of a cat and moving it. They don't know where to go.
Now, one of the reasons I'm so glad, and when I heard you were up here, I want to talk because this situation with Greenland is just not something President Trump thought of the other night. He has been obsessed with this, about hemispheric defense, for a long time. And you were one of the key people, or not the key person, in the first term, because you were ambassador to Denmark. Just walk people through the strategic logic of Greenland.
Sure. So I was the ambassador to Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands. It's a kingdom. But seeing that Greenland, just off our northeast coast, 1/3 the size of the continental U.S., undefended by Denmark, and when I got to Denmark in late 2017, undefended by us as well. And this is open source. There were Russian subs everywhere. The sea lines of communication, the open sea lines, were being threatened.
As we talk about, because the Russian bases are up in Murmansk and Archangel, they got to come through the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap to get to the North Atlantic.
Right. The GI-UK gap is the giant seas between Greenland and Iceland and the UK, because that's also part of Denmark's area of responsibility, because you have the Faroe Islands just north of Scotland. So these are giant seas. They have no capability of policing or even having an awareness of what's going on. And the U.S., really, we struggle in these very aggressive seas. And we had left after the peace dividend.
The famous movie from the World War II, Action with Humphrey Bogart, Action in the North Atlantic, and it is the sea states there are incredible, very tough.
Yes, our Navy said to me, we're having trouble passing. We're having trouble in these seas. So we have to get new capabilities. We need more ships that are capable. We need more icebreakers. Russia has around 50 icebreakers. They have missiles on the icebreakers. We have two icebreakers, and one doesn't always work. So we are outgunned in the Arctic. Russia's militarized their coast. They've reopened old Cold War bases, refurbished them. They have new bases. Their capabilities are fierce in that region.
The Arctic is as the great game was Afghanistan and Persia between Russia and the British Empire about India. The great game of the 21st century is the Arctic. It's a great power struggle. The CCP is going to be up there. The Russians are already up there. The United States has to be up there because the strategic nature of the Arctic, correct?
That's correct. And the CCP, in their paper that they wrote in 2018 called the Polar Silk Road, they claim to be a near Arctic nation and that they're entitled to 40% of everything under the sea, under the ground in the region because of their large population. They're very supremacist in their outlook on the world and then on, say, the universe.
So talk to me, how does Greenland fits into the Arctic strategy and also for the boxing,
our national defense.
The national defense, the Russian Navy. It's a big signal to NATO that, hey, the Russian army may be your problem. The Russian Navy is our problem. We'll take care of it. How realistic is it, since you know the players, how realistic is it for the United States to get some sort of strategic relationship with Greenland, since it right now is technically a part of the kingdom of the Danes?
Right, so it's a semi-autonomous nation. It has all its own authorities except for defense and foreign policy. But they have said, their premier said about 3 weeks ago, they're going independent. So that's a big deal that he says they're going independent. I thought it was decades away. I think he saw Trump's election and said, now's our time. That's what I think. The Greenlanders want independence from Denmark because they abused them. They haven't developed it.
Tell people don't know this. What do you mean by that?
Well, so they
it's a huge minerals, resources that
Right.
Belgium and the Danes and all of Europe, in sub-Saharan Africa and other places weren't shy about exploiting people. What happened here?
Well, so the Danes have never attempted to develop Greenland. Most of the buildings, airports, and ports were built by our military either during the Second World War or during the Cold War until we left after the Berlin Wall fell.
Right.
So we had a big presence there. And most of their infrastructure was built by us. There is no road between two towns in Greenland. Like Denmark has never developed it at all. And Denmark can't afford to develop it or defend it. And they send around $600 million to Greenland every year as sort of a welfare payment. And so the
Danes are in kind of tough financial shape. Is that something that's tough for them?
Yeah, I think it's tough for them, and I think it'd be welcome for them not to have to pay this. But they also get back all the transit goes from Greenland to Denmark, so they get money that way. All of the airport traffic, except a little bit, goes through Denmark. So they do get money back, and they've got interest there with interest in the fishing in Greenland and stuff like that. So their economies are interwoven.
In World War II and the Cold War, up until President Reagan's victory over the evil empire, we had a pretty significant and important military national security function there, correct?
We did. In fact, we had a huge presence. We had bases all over the place. We had deep water ports. China tried to buy one of our deep water ports in southern Greenland. They tried to pull Greenland into the Belt and Road Initiative and build and develop and pay for and construct their
They tried to
their three airports.
They tried to get Greenland into One Belt, One Road.
They did. So they flew the Greenlandic premier and his government and the top
CCP is so
CEOs.
smart.
They're so smart. We didn't do it.
insidious.
No,
No,
U.S.
no,
company
no.
or government
They're so
did it.
sneaky. They're
They
so
did.
good. Yes.
Flew them over in 2017 before I got there.
Predatory capitalism.
100% debt diplomacy, debt trap diplomacy. They were going to suck them in, and the Greenlanders were thrilled. They were like, yeah, we want this. We'll take. And they said to me, money has no color. They didn't care where the investment came from. It was neutral. They just wanted development. They want money. They want good paying jobs. They want opportunity. But they did tell me they want success in their tourism. So we gave them some help there from the State Department. Success in their mining. They needed it. We're helping them from the State Department. And they didn't want their kids to learn Chinese as a second language. They wanted to learn English.
Wow. We got about a minute. Do we see, you're one of the best fire breathers President Trump had in the first term. Where are we going to see you in the second?
Well, wherever President Trump puts me, I would be honored to serve again. I don't want to miss out on this. This is like the most exciting time in my life to have
What's
a
the highest and best
commander-in-chief.
use of Ambassador Carlos Sands?
Well, I hope to be an ambassador under him, but frankly, I told him I'll do whatever he needs me to do.
One thing I've noticed, he's got ambassadors, which are great because some of the ambassadors are amazing.
Yeah.
But you've also got these special envoys. Would you be open to that?
Whatever he wants me to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
I told him.
You're ready to roll.
Yes, he makes fun of me. Oh, you really want to work for me? Yes, I do. I don't want to miss out. This is the most exciting time in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Ambassador. Now, social media, where do people get you?
So I'm on Twitter, X, Carla H. Sands. I'm on Instagram a little bit, Facebook a little bit, but mostly you can find me living
Are you
on
working
Twitter.
on a book or anything of your experiences?
Maybe
of
one
this?
day.
Okay, fine.
I have to make sure somebody wants to read it.
I think you get a big audience for that. Ambassador Carla Sands, we're going to take you out with modern day holy war, birchgold.com. It's going to be turbulence, and not just including the CBO report that says, guess what, $2 trillion of deficits as far as the eye can see, $52 trillion by 2035. That's not the War Room. That is actually the Congressional Budget Office. Talk about it more in the next segment. Ambassador, thank you so much.